So you're brand new to WoW Classic Anniversary servers. Welcome. I wanted to give you 10 little setting tips that I highly recommend that you modify, turn on, turn off. That's going to make your gameplay so much smoother. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Dave the Gamer here. And I got these 10 tips that I have personally used a ton and it has helped me save a lot of time and overall just make quality of life changes. Now, some of these down the road, as you start getting more into the game, you'll download add-ons. That is a further attachment to the game to make everything easier. But before you download the add-ons, you can at least modify these settings to make your life a lot easier. Let's dive right in. So to change the settings, you're just going to hit escape and then you're going to go to your options. So under options, they've done a lot better from what it was many years ago. But here's all of the different settings that you can change. So in this example, I want to talk about two things under the control section. So I highly recommend that you turn on auto loot. And if you can change the loot key to, if you hold the shift in, it doesn't automatically loot everything. It shows the pop-up screen first. But especially in the beginning levels, you just want to grab everything and vendor it to be able to get a little bit of gold. So to have auto loot on is just going to make the whole process so much smoother. Otherwise, you'll have to click on the different items in the window. It's so much of a time sink. Don't even mess around with it. Other than that, I like to turn on water collision. So water collision, it's depending on is your character below water or above water is how your camera view is going to show. Without it, it gets very clunky. So I highly recommend turning on water collision. It's going to make the whole process so much smoother anytime you go into the water. So I got a couple things under the interference that you want to turn on, turn off. So it depends on what you want to see. So I don't need to see, I try to reduce the clutter of the screen and be able to focus on what I actually want to see. I don't need to know my name. I already know what my name is, or critters or minions. And so I turn off a lot of these different settings. And as I go through all this, you can kind of pause the video and kind of mimic some of my settings and play around with what is best for you. But the big ones is under nameplates. So I always show nameplates. And then I turn off friendly players, minions, because when you get into somewhere where there's 100 people, there's so many different nameplates, it's hard to even see what the heck's going on. If anything, you could probably turn on your enemy nameplates. I have different add-ons that turn those on for when I'm in PvP battlegrounds and stuff. But outside, I don't really need it. Now on a PvP server, yeah, maybe not a bad idea as far as that goes. And then you can change how you want it to be. I highly recommend stacking the nameplates. So then they literally go one on top of each other instead of a ton of them in one area and looking very cluttered and a mess. Some other little things under interference that is really nice. Make sure your instant quest text is checked on. It's going to make questing so much smoother where it's automatically popping up. Otherwise, it will read through all of the text. If you're into the lore and you want to really absorb it, maybe this is your very first time and you want to take your time reading and understanding the whole game, cool. Then you don't want to turn that on. It is pretty lengthy, and if you want to just get into the battling portion of things, I highly recommend turning this on. I then also turn on the show free bag space, which down below is going to, right now, I don't know what's going on with this green bar, but that's normally not there. But see how it says 25, so I know how many bag space. So I know when I'm starting to fill up my bag space that I need to go to town, sell some items to be able to go back out and quest. The other important settings in the interface, I don't know why I keep saying interference, it's interface. You want to show the enemy cast bar. So when the enemy is casting a spell, it's going to pop up a little bar that's filling up right underneath their nameplate. So that lets you know as you get into the game, there's ways to counter, basically stop their spell, or maybe run, or what they're actually casting. So it's pretty critical that you know what they are actually casting. And then the aggro percentages will show what the threat percentage, and what threat is basically, say you have a warlock or a hunter, they have pets. So a lot of times I will send my pet in to attack first. So he's doing damage. So the monster is attacking my pet instead of me. Well, if I do so much damage and increase my threat, that monster will then attack me. So I don't want that to happen. So to be able to track how much threat, so when I know I cross over 80, 90%, I'm going to then take on the threat and it's going to attack me. That would tell me, hey, I want to slow down on my damage, let my pet take the damage so I don't personally die. I can always revive my pet. I don't feel like dying and having to walk the whole way across back the map to respawn because I died. So having this definitely is a game changer, and it's really nice that they added this in the main functions of everything. Time to pay the bills. So if you are not using Rested XP while leveling, you are nuts. For $10 to $30, it saves hundreds of hours over the course of your WoW Classic career. Highly recommend it. I've used it every single time, and they make it so easy with the add-on. So highly recommend that. And as far as gold making, check out Solheim. Solheim has made a fabulous 157-page document with every gold making method possible. Check down below for code DAVE for 50% off. Do not miss out. Make tons of gold level fast. Let's get back to the video. So under combat, the main one that I'm looking to turn on is I'm looking at show target damage. I turn off the periodical damage, the pet damage, and the healing. I don't really care as much with that, especially like I said, I don't want to see a ton of numbers from my dot damage. I might, some of the times you might have 5-6 different dots up. So you'd have all of these numbers popping up on the screen. It'd be so much harder to understand what the heck's going on. I want to know my main target damage. So if I cast a big spell and it does 3,000 damage, I want to see just that. I don't want to see all the other little numbers cluttering the screen. I know they're doing damage. The other one under combat that I would turn on is show target of target. What that means is when I'm clicked onto someone, this is my target. I could then see if my target is targeting someone. So this is really helpful when it comes to player versus player PvP or different things in raid. So I can see, did someone pull aggro, or is he targeting a friend, or is he targeting me, so I know he is going to attack me. Or like in PvP, player versus player, I could see if he's fighting and targeting someone else, I have free reign to just lay the damage on him. So target of target is a nice little function, especially as you get into the player versus player scene. Under social, there's a couple things to really, what you could turn on, turn off. Personally, if you really don't want swear words or stuff like that, maybe you have a younger kid that's going to play, you can turn on a profanity filter so they won't see that. But other than that, a lot of times I turn on block guild invites. So you can't guild invite me if I'm already in a guild. So like on this character, I'm already on a guild. But if you don't have this on, anytime you're ever near a town, you will just be spammed with pop-ups. Basically a message saying, hey, join this person's guild. Hey, join this person's guild. It's annoying. I'm going to do research and find the guild that best fits me, whether it's a certain raid day. Like I look for a certain raid, like I want to raid on Wednesday at 8 o'clock. So like I specifically looked for a raid. So I blocked all raid invites and I searched and found the one that I was looking for. And or you might want to meet people in dungeons and then find out, oh, they're in a leveling guild, I'll join that way. You don't want to get spammed, and if you don't turn this off or turn it on to block it, oh buddy, you're gonna get so annoyed. Lastly, under key bindings, there's so many different key bindings to actually play around with. Key bindings is an ability is attached to a certain key on your keyboard. So the big critical ones I highly recommend. You should never be turning left or turning right when you walk. Instead, you should be strafing left, strafing right. It's going to help in so many aspects. in player versus player, it's harder for someone to get behind you, running away from monsters. If your back is to them, it's easier for them. Like if they hit you in the back, it's a high percentage that they're going to daze you, which slows your run speed. Compared to strafing, I could strafe side to side and still get away from them and not actually get damaged that way. So highly recommend to automatically swap the strafe. Personally, the way I have everything set up, I do strafe left to right on A and D, and my back and forward is W and S. So it's a little cross, basically, almost a cross, and that's how I'm able to just move. So strafing side to side, and then I got my up and down, and it's all right there. And the reason I like going there, so you can also move by holding both buttons on your mouse in. But like it kind of gets very clunky. By using your keyboard, it allows me to open up all of the buttons around my movement for key abilities. So if you see all my main abilities, so these are all abilities, like critical abilities, that are like on a cooldown that I use a lot. And I have them all centered, like look, every single one of them is centered around my movement keys. All of these are all set up on my mouse. So if you don't have a gaming mouse, check out my other video, get one for under $100. I highly recommend it. It changes everything. Otherwise, you're gonna have to add all of these buttons to your keyboard. I just have it all on my thumb. I got 15 different buttons all on my thumb, so easy. And then all of my critical buttons are right around my movement spells. But other than that, under the key bindings, the other things that you want to be really looking at is setting an easy to remember button for auto run, toggle auto run, your bag, and your map. Those three things you're going to be using constantly. Like I said, I have it on a gaming mouse, which makes it easy. So like my bottom button of my gaming mouse, so if you can't see, let me see if you can. Yep. So on my gaming mouse, so my bottom buttons, so my first 9 buttons are the main 9 abilities I use all the time. The bottom 3, one of them is toggle auto run, because if I'm running across the map or I need to shoot a text real quick, I can just toggle auto run, nice and easy. Then my next button in the middle bottom is my map. So you're constantly going to be going. So like I have auto run on all the time, and then I'll be jumping to my map to see, am I making sure my guy is going in the right direction and kind of let him go. And the final one is my bags. So I'm always looking at what's in my bags, rearranging stuff, seeing if I have the stuff ready for whatever encounter I'm going to go in. So these 3 buttons are very critical. So toggle auto run, bags, and world map. Those are the main ones that you want to really have keybind, in which you change under key bindings. Set it to whatever you find that is going to be the best. I would have it somewhere close, if you don't have a gaming mouse, somewhere close to your movement keys, because how frequently you're going to use them, I promise you want them nice and close, whether it be 1, 2, 3 on the keyboard or somewhere where it's easy to access, because you're going to use it over and over. Hopefully those 10 settings can really help you with a better experience throughout your game, make things a little bit smoother, maybe explained a little bit further. Love to hear any comments below of different settings. Maybe you're a veteran and you learned something here. Who knows? Or maybe you have some tips that you'd like to leave below. I love to interact with the community, so please leave some comments below. If you have any questions, I'm always here for you. And as always, game on.